welcome to Served Up. This podcast is where hospitality meets leadership and where we take an honest look at the business of beverage. I'm Bridget Albert. I've spent my career building cocktail programs, mentoring rising talent, judging competitions, and advocating for women in our industry. I'm joined by my co-host, Eric Heemer, one of only 5 people in the world to hold both the Master Sommelier and Master of Wine titles. His depth of knowledge and global perspective brings tremendous insight to every conversation. This is Served Up. Hey y'all, it's Bridget here. Clyde Davis Jr. joins us to share his remarkable journey through the beverage industry, from operating one of Washington, D.C.'s respected bottle shops to becoming a recognized voice in the spirits education space and advocacy. With experience as a spirits competition judge, Clyde offers a unique perspective on what defines quality, innovation, and excellence in today's ever-evolving beverage landscape. He also discusses the importance of mentorship, community engagement, and creating opportunities to help shape the next generation of beverage professionals. So sit back, relax, grab yourself your favorite cocktail, and enjoy the show. Clyde, welcome to Served Up. Eric and I are so excited to have you on the show today.
I'm excited to be here.
Wonderful. We'd love to start at the beginning. What really first sparked your interest in the spirit world? And did you always know that this would be the path for you? Or did you think, what, when I was growing up, I really wanted to be an astronaut?
I will say, as a person who grew up as a creative, but also in a very religious family, it's kind of hard for me to figure out what I wanted to be and what my parents wanted me to be, and trying to get those things together. Even before I was a spirits professional, I was in this program called Inroads, which is about internships for minorities. And we used to have a thing where we made up companies. And so I made up a company called Get Nice, which is like slang for being drunk. Even though I wasn't a big drinker then, but I did a presentation about Get Nice Spirits and Georgia Avenue Gin, everything that was about DC related. And it was kind of a joke because I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to I made it like a comedy sketch about this new liquor company I was creating. And then that was when I was an undergrad. And fast forward, I'm in business school at University of Michigan. I finished working at Deloitte and doing all the kind of super corporate stuff. I was at University of Michigan in an entrepreneurship class, consulting entrepreneur, and the entrepreneur quit. So the professor was like, well, if you want credit in the class, you could make your own business plan, but it has to be something unique. And he was like, what do you guys like to do? As me and my business partner, David Jones, who I'm still business partners with. And I was like, we like to rap and we like to drink. And he's like, you're too old to be rapping. So we came with the idea of doing a liquor company it's called Team Spirits Imports. And from there, we actually went and created a product. My first product was cashews peanut rum cream. We ended up creating importing Chairman's Reserve and creating Chairman's Reserve Spice, which became kind of like the base of my career. That's what we kind of took off as professionals. But it really came out of wanting to be both social and as an entrepreneur, wanting to do something different and the opportunity, because we didn't see those opportunities coming in. And like, if I told my high school counselor that I own a liquor store or own liquor companies, they would turn over in their grave. That wasn't an option for us. That wasn't a thing that they said that we could do. And when we started our first company in 2002, after we graduated, we had like no mentorship. So that kind of stuck with me as I became bigger in the industry, got more awards, and started like actually being a successful spirits professional. So now my goal is always to figure out how I can be the person I needed when I was young.
Wow, that's amazing. I love that. Be the person that, yes, you'd be when you were young. I know that you're in the DC area. It's such an interesting landscape for beverage, for people in general. Man, how did the DC culture really shape the way that you approach business in the
Uh,
industry?
well, for me, DC, and I grew up in Prince George's County, which is the eastern suburb of
Mhm.
Washington, DC, which is always been known as the most affluent Black community in the country. I grew up with entrepreneurs all around me. Everybody was entrepreneur. Either you worked for the government or you had a company. And so my parents being entrepreneurs and missionaries, the idea of being an entrepreneur did never, it felt like that was the best way to do, the best way to operate as an individual. And so that DC has kind of shaped me because everybody here, you have to produce, you have to hustle, you have to make something happen. One, we have a very high cost of living. And two is that everybody here works. And not working is the bigger thing. If you're not working, you're not producing, you're not creating. And we're very religious. So to be able to be a creator from a if you're say made in the image of God and God is a creator, everybody feels like they have to make something. Like
Mm,
everybody, even if you drive the metro, you have a project that you're working on. You cannot be it's a place where you have to be busy. You have to create. You have to be making something of your own because the thought was that there was nothing, none of us could inherit anything. So we always had to create something for ourselves. So DC has shaped me in that way is that it's full of creators, it's full of entrepreneurs and people who are always willing to try something new.
mm.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you found that entrepreneurial spirit early on, just being in DC and being in the environment you were in. But still, it's a big leap going from, an established business into your own business. So, what inspired you when you founded Team Spirits Imports to take that chance, take that leap of faith and start your own business? And what did you learn from building something of your own so early on in your career?
For me, because I worked at like Big Six consulting, accounting, I realized the life that I could have being a going to be a partner or a senior manager or a director, that wasn't the life I wanted to live. That wasn't it didn't resonate with me as who I was. That wasn't the legacy that I wanted to leave. So for me, it was a very easy choice to say, I want to do this for me. I don't want to
Mm,
continue to build other people's wealth and do kind of jobs for other people, making them wealthy just for a check. I wanted to do something for me. I wanted to take the chance. I wanted to take the opportunity. Fortunately, I was in a place where that chance didn't mean the difference because I was already classically trained as a business person. I could take that chance, even if it didn't work. I could go back to something.
right,
And
right.
so I
Right.
had a kind of a safety net with 2 degrees and all these, big companies that I had worked for. I was in the perfect place that if nobody's going to take a chance, why wouldn't I take a chance?
Right, right. So you learned a lot about yourself by not hesitating and just diving right in and starting your own business. Were there any hard lessons you learned at this point in your career?
I mean, for me, and when it comes to the spirits industry, I didn't realize how personally connected everybody was,
Mm,
and how the accountability in like consulting and accounting, you have all these metrics, but in spirits, there's not a lot of metrics in the industry because they say, "Oh, you work for a small company, so having 300% growth in 2 years means nothing." Or you worked at this large company, but you weren't in charge of P&L. That there are all kinds of measurements that people are using that I didn't even know existed because I
mm,
was an entrepreneur. I was like, I need to make more money I did last year. I need to make sure my investors are happy. I need to get more investors. These are all these different things that I didn't deal with when I was in corporate America. And
right.
corporate America is very different. You have your
Sure.
KPIs and all these things, but as an entrepreneur, the only KPI is like, can I work tomorrow? Can I
Hmm,
pay for this thing? So that was the big lesson as an entrepreneur is that what you're looking at is very different. And in a place in the spirits industry, there is no accountability by brand, but no, and especially growing up in DC where we have what they call 8A companies, better known companies, people are looking out for people who have these special distinctions. So in spirits, none of that exists. So if you're an entrepreneur and your father started random company, you could get in and get all the issues you want. But if you're somebody who doesn't know anybody, you're like, this is the product I created, is a lot harder.
Yeah,
That
lesson
was
learned.
that was a huge difficulty for me to
Mm.
understand.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah, you've held so many major leadership roles. You mentioned a bit in corporate America. How did these experiences define your perspective on brand building and on sales?
Um, on sales, that perspective started when I was very young. Actually, at undergrad at Morehouse, I was in a class called, it was basically Sales 101. Is the best. I've taught sales classes. I've gone to sales classes. The sales class that I resonates with me most. One, regardless of the product, if you can sell it, they will buy it.
Mm.
Number two is that no's never change your life. So you have to accept that if you are somebody who internalizes no, you cannot be a salesperson. What
We need to put that on a t-shirt. Say that again.
I was gonna say that's a
Woo!
great quote.
yeah,
Somebody's
sales will not
preaching
change your life.
today.
And I use that and I teach my kids that it's in every part of your life. If if you're asking a girl out, asking for a job, asking for a sale, when somebody
Mhm.
tells you no, nothing in your life has changed. Nothing has changed. Only yeses can change your life. So you don't worry about the no's. You go get the next one. You go to the next thing, next person. Because if I go to a bar, a restaurant, and say, no, we don't want your rum. My rum wasn't in there already. So nothing's changed. I spent 5 minutes, 10 minutes in there. And so those are the lessons to me. And that's one of the biggest things I tell my sales people I train. If you can get over your own ego and not worry about no, you can reach so many people because no's is just a thing that's a data point. You help you learn and also to understand that I would say 60% of the people who tell people no don't have the ability to tell you yes.
Ooh, my gosh.
Mm.
Okay. We're cooking with butter now. Wow. Okay. You know, you definitely are coming strong with that entrepreneurial spirit, as you always do, Clyde. For those of us who had the privilege of spending time with you, and you're always someone who's willing to teach those around you as well. And I'm just really curious about pivotal turning points in your life. Was there a moment when you just realized that you wanted to shift from corporate America leadership into consulting and into that entrepreneurship? And what did that moment look like for you when you had, the keys in your hands to your liquor store, to house
And,
bar? Like what did that look like for you?
well, I would say that there was two moments. One was I was on a consulting project in South Carolina, and I lived in Atlanta at the time. And there's 3 months because 2 happened on the exact same project. So we're doing a project for a company that was a textile company in America. And yes, we used to have textile companies in America. And so I did a project, and in that project, we realized that we had to close the textile factory, and they had to go to just straight importing. And we did the report. We had it started bubbling around, and people started realizing that little small town in South Carolina, we're going to close the factory. And so we drive up there on a Monday morning. They go in the factory, and this guy had hung himself in the factory,
Oh my
Oh
god.
gosh.
Oh my
and
god.
it terrified me in a way. It's like we'd never talked to the people about what the transition could be or why this would be good for your 401k or your stock thing or whatever. This person reacted to something that I created on a spreadsheet.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? And I was like, I never want to be a part of a spreadsheet or something that could potentially destroy somebody's outlook on life.
yeah.
And so I was like, I got to get out of like this is not the thing for me. So I was kind of pushing, let's get off this project. And the project is going very well. Like it's one of the from a analytical point of view, it's one of the best projects I'd ever done. And I was very excited. even with the work I did, I was very happy with it until that moment. So they then, because I was kind of had a very visceral reaction, I think they moved me off the project. And I was not happy about it because I was like, I did so well as the analyst on that project. I felt really good about the work I had done. And so, but every week, my manager was picking me up from my apartment, and we would drive up to 3 hours to the site, to the work site where this project was. And the week they transferred me off the project, I was upset about it because like now I just want to see it through. That week, that woman was in a car accident. Her whole passenger side was destroyed.
Mhm.
And I thought to myself, I never want to die going to work, at least with somebody else.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, when I go to school in the fall, it's all about me. And then fast forward, I'm in school fall 2000. I start fall 2000, fall 2001, 9/11 happens. We lose a lot of people at my firm at that time in the towers. And I was like, all these
Okay.
people did were trying to go to work to feed their families. I just
Mhm.
don't ever. I know I'm going to go back to this company when I finish school, but I got to get myself a. If something happens to me, I want to know that everybody know that when it happened, I was doing something for my family, for myself, not for somebody's bottom line. And that was the real trigger for me to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah. I don't
Mm.
think you should ever lose your identity within your career.
Yes.
And that happens a lot in hospitality.
Yeah. And especially with the
Too
advent of
often.
social media. Like
Yes.
social media has that made that so much worse. Because I think in 2013, I can't remember what year it was, but I had 2011, I had a colleague who worked for a major brand. He died in a car accident. And we're
Mm.
all said he
Mhm.
died
Mhm.
leaving the event. And that was the first time I realized that when you pass away, first thing people do is go to your Instagram and look at your stuff. And all his stuff was brand stuff. Not his wife, not his children, not his hobbies. That they get so caught up with those things. So I made a very point at that moment. I was like, it was about my business or the things I represent. It's for an event. I delete it afterwards because I know that this is actually now our living obituary. And I don't want people to think
Yeah.
that the only thing was me working for X brand or that brand or this brand or that brand. I want when people go to my Instagram now, they see my kids, my mom, exercising, events with my friends. That's what people know me for.
Well, that's really sound advice, Clyde. I think as soon as we're off the interview here, I'm gonna do the same thing myself because you never know.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
never know.
and we don't know, and but it's also a chance to look at ourselves. This is the image I'm showing to the world. Is this me?
Right. That's so
Because
true.
that's what I did in that moment. I was like, wait a minute, let me look at my own posts because I was with like one of my clients was a big cognac brand, and so it's a lot of party innuendo stuff like this. Is not how I want people to remember me. I want them to remember me hanging out with my kids, hanging out with my parents. Those are things I want people to remember.
Yeah, yeah, that's so true. There's so much more to life than just what you do for a living. It's
Yes.
very true. So, but speaking about what you do for a living, when it comes to 75 proof beverage solutions, you're working across multiple brands and strategies. What's the biggest gap that you see in the spirits industry that you're trying to solve personally? What really
Um,
drives you crazy?
currently we have a couple things going on in this very moment. The consolidation of distributors have disrupted smaller brands opportunities to go to market,
Mm,
right? With Rez and Breakthrough and Southern, it's changed the ability for people to come to market. Because we live in a three-tier system, it's very hard for people to get to market with their products. That's the biggest challenge entrepreneurs in this business because none of these companies need another product. The demand from people who drink is pretty consistent, even though it's down a little bit now for lots of reasons. But they don't, whatever they have, people will sell. So it's very hard for an independent entrepreneur to say, I create this great product, whether it's a vodka, whiskey, gin, wine, to get into distribution. And that's the biggest challenge I think people have as entrepreneurs in our food beverage because I have my relationships with certain distributors. That's one of the things I sell. I can help you at least get in front of the distributor that can help you and pick a distributor that would be the best for you. Because a lot of small brands, they don't have the budget to be with a big distributor, which needs a lot more finances versus being a small distributor is just happy to have you. So that's the thing I concentrate much more on when it comes to 75 proof beverage, matching brands with distribution and also making sure that they have the proper goals and the resources for those goals. Because
Mm.
everybody thinks every person who's ever made vodka in the world thinks they made the world's greatest vodka. It's just what it is. So they think that anybody who tastes it will love it. As a guy who personally makes gin, I think the same thing, but I have to understand that it doesn't matter. I think it's the best. If I can't sell it, it's not a thing.
Right, right. So it's a very valuable service that you provide to these smaller entrepreneurs. And what do you see when somebody comes to you with a new idea for a new spirits brand in terms of a business plan? Do people often come to you with a very poorly thought out plan of attack, action? How are they going to get into the industry?
For 90% of people that are getting in have never been in it. So their goals or their metrics are way too high. They think they think way too highly of the system, of themselves, of their product. They say, I have a great tequila. I went to Mexico. I found it. I have a beautiful label. I paid some company to help me with the branding. We did focus groups. This is the best tequila in the world.
Hmm.
Now, how do you execute that? And the problem is that the ability to execute that is much more different than people think it is. So the biggest thing I try to do for my clients is lower their expectations to say, listen, the goal is you made a great product. Congratulations. Now, can you sell it in your city? Because if you have to get on a plane to sell it, get on a train to sell it, you don't have a business. You have to create a business first. The
Yeah.
business is I made a product and I can sell it to the bars in my neighborhood, the liquor stores in our neighborhood. My goal when we first started our company is like sell to the people next to me, get it selling, then go to people next to them and build it from inside out because it's too expensive. If I live in DC and I get a distributor in Chicago, every case I sell is very expensive for me. But if I'm in DC and if I can get to in a month 80, 90 accounts because without costing me additional money, that's better than me going to Chicago. And I go to Chicago, that distributor buys a pallet, and I'm happy I sold a pallet, but then sits there for 9 months because I can't be there consistently. So that's the biggest thing that we have to deal with in setting apart beverages. One, lowering people's expectations, and two, help them manage their growth in a way that makes sense for a company that has limited resources. So most of my clients aren't billion-dollar clients. They don't have unlimited pockets
Right.
because and that's a true restraint on the growth in that part.
Yeah, very, very good advice. Thank you. So let's switch it up here and talk about house bar. I'd love to hear more about how this concept came to be because it's really fresh. It's very exciting.
Yes.
Why did you decide to focus on the at-home cocktail experience, and
Well,
why now?
well, first of all, this is the concept. This is not my original concept. This concept came from my business partner, David Jones, and his wife, Courtney Jones, is one of my best friends. While during in COVID, people started making drinks at home, and they were terrible at it. The home bartenders are the worst bartenders. Now, they're effective at getting themselves drunk and slurring on the internet, but making great cocktails wasn't a thing that they were doing, but they wanted to. And so when we talk about house bars, about better drinking at home, bringing a cocktail experience at your house that rivals any restaurant, any bar, but just better drinking at home. When you're at house bar, for me, I don't think of it as a liquor store or a wine and spirit store. I think of it as a home entertainment store. Yes, you have wine, you have spirits. You also have board games, you have charcuterie, you have fresh bread, you have caviar, you have cheeses, we're doing a program where we have specialties from a lot of local restaurants. So we have Ben Chili Bowl, we have the Half Smokes Frozen, 250 Barbecue, we have their products broke, freeze dried. So if you live in Northwest DC, you can go find things that you can't get in your neighborhood that are also very local.
Mm.
So that's
Mhm.
our goal, is to make better drinking at home. But for me, it's about home entertainment. If you're going to have people over, and you're living in the DC area, you got to go to House Bar because everything you need is there.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's great. It's amazing. The upside of COVID was it was such a great business incubator. So many great ideas have come out of that isolation period where you had no choice but to think about the future. So it's
Yeah. And
great.
also for us as spirits entrepreneurs, if you weren't with a major brand, you had to really rethink what you were doing. You had to figure out what was the plan. As somebody who had worked in both wholesale and importer and distribution, like this, the final frontier is where all the energy is. It's where all the convincing goes. And we're not talking about a bar, but actually a spirit store. And unfortunately, the store experience in most markets is very antiquated. Most
Yes.
people who
Right.
Mhm.
own wine and spirit stores or beer shops have been in the business 40, 50 years. I mean, they're family businesses, which is a blessing for our citizens here. But when it comes to our consumers, they're stuck in an old model. We've realized that people in the neighborhoods that we planted them want a more boutique customer service model, right? So if you shop at Nordstrom, you don't necessarily want to go to Central Avenue Liquors or Main Street Liquors. You know what I mean? That's not.
Mhm.
Hope there's no Central Avenue Liquors, probably is, but you don't want to go those places. You want to go to the same experience you have at Nordstrom. So that's what we wanted to create.
Yeah, I think that's great. It's like one-stop shopping. You
Yes.
just have that 360 experience, which is
Yes.
totally amazing. I
And
wanted to ask you, Clyde, who's been the biggest influence on your career?
that's hard because because it wasn't anybody inside our circle
Mhm.
necessarily. There are two things. So my parents being entrepreneurs and being like, you gotta go for it. That was a big thing. But I can tell you when our first company got absorbed by another company, and it was okay, but not great. I went to go work for Pacific Edge in
Mhm.
California. And one thing that Rich and Joel, who I'm always indebted to, one thing he says, like, me and Rich, we started our business 20 years ago, like the age you were now. And this is what we've done. It was the idea that when you're connected to somebody like me and David are connected, or you connected like Rich and Joel are connected, you guys can always start over and grow something great. Because the idea in this business is about growing a business is about trust. You know what I'm saying? And when you're connected to somebody you trust, you can grow anything. And there's never we're too late. You know what I'm saying? To do this. We're too old to do this. I mean, so that was kind of the advice that made me go, oh, listen, I can always keep going. I can always like reinvent myself. You know what I mean? Because that was their sector. Now they're like one of the third or fourth largest distributors in California, or what, I don't know the ranking, but you know what I'm saying? They're very successful. And so that was a really big influence for me because before I'd only been an entrepreneur. All the rules for spirit companies, I made that up for myself. But to be with people who had done it for a long time and was had a partnership that they respected, that reminded me of me and my that was a big influence for me on how I do business.
That's amazing. And then my other question for you is this, you know, why is representation important to you in business? I have my answer, but I know you've got a good one, Clyde.
Well, it's funny because I've changed my mind about it. I changed
Okay.
my mind about it. Representation is very important for younger people in the business, right? That there's somebody that looks like them, that seems like them, that's in the business. Because
Mhm.
when I came in, there was nobody. We were the second Black people in America that owned a liquor company, and the first one was Ken Wyatt. So it's
Mhm.
Ken Wyatt, then myself and David, and a couple other people. Then Jackie, Fawn. There are people that came after us. There's lots of people now.
Yes.
So I didn't have lots of people to kind of to lean on. So representation would have helped me stay in it, but more important than representation is redistribution of resources, right?
Mm.
Because there's certain things that can't happen if the distribution of resources if the resources aren't distributed differently. I mean, the like we have a lot of people who are like, I want to be the first. I want to own a vineyard in Napa. And so they have to raise all this money to create this vineyard in Napa, to create a brand, and they're creating it against brands who that vineyard was a land grant from the U.S. government. I mean, so it started very differently. So if we're not redistributing how resources are across the board, allow the women, different people with different ethnic backgrounds to get access to the resources, then representation doesn't matter because then you're just a face to say a box to check. If we want things to
Right.
be different, resources have to be redistributed because
Yeah,
there's no way
100%.
for women, black people, anybody else from outside the country to even catch up because the resources are so were unevenly distributed long time ago before the people that own them now. You know what I mean? So we have to figure a way to do that differently.
Yeah, yeah, and it's time. My God, we live in 2026, and
Yeah.
there's still so much to do.
Yeah, and the thing is, I think representation is the first part, but I think having people understand that redistribution of wealth and these opportunities given to other people is not in disrespect of the work your parents put in. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I like it's not saying that your father, your grandfather didn't work hard or didn't even if they had it. I don't know anything about those people. I just know that they got something that nobody else was able to get, and I just want to even that out.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they didn't work the land, they didn't market it, they did all the things they were supposed to do, but they received them in a place where it wasn't evenly distributed,
Yep.
and for people
Yeah,
to not take offense by that.
that's right. What motivates you on the difficult days? Are you gonna say working out? You're not
No,
on
no, no. I
camera
love
right
working
now,
out.
but
I
I
work
know
out.
you do.
Oh, no, 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 no. I don't. I mean, working out is something I do for me. It's never. It's not. It has nothing to do. I'll be sad, whatever. But what motivates me is that I know there's somebody that needs to see me. I know that there's somebody needs to see me. I knew that I had to get my kids to school, get these things. What motivates me is that there's somebody that is much younger than me that wants to quit. And I don't want them to be like, well, I quit. I mean, I want them to know that everything that they're feeling, everything they felt, I've already felt it. You know what I mean? So because there's so many times as an entrepreneur with like who doesn't have millions of dollars to be like, oh, I owe this person money, I owe that person money, the IRS is on my butt, everything else.
Mhm.
So just to say, listen, I'm never gonna quit because there's somebody, one who's looking up to me. And also there's somebody who's against me who wants me to quit. And I'm not gonna do that for them.
Mhm.
So that's what motivates me is to be that beacon and also be that reminder to the person who doesn't want me to be there.
Yeah. Clearly, Clyde, you're a very busy man, but inspirationally, you find the time to speak at some of the major gatherings like Tales of the Cocktail, Bar Convent Brooklyn. When you're there, what conversations are you the most passionate about leading right now in this time?
The thing about most passionate about is for people to really live their own dream. Don't let people put their dreams on you or their limitations on you. I want people to say that you could be the next whatever you want to be or be who you want to be. I want people to fail enthusiastically. Like if I fail, it's on my own terms.
Hey, that's good.
Might as
Feel
well if you're gonna fail.
enthusiastically.
Fail enthusiastically because those failures help you so much. You have to be. It's like it's everything's about doing it enthusiastically, and I think that people need to see that and hear that and know that failure is not fatal. You know what I mean, it's just not. It's not, and but it grows into the success that you need and builds your calluses of your mind and your soul to keep going. And so you need that. And
Yeah,
that's why those are things I get out of most of it. And also that the thing is this we should be working hard to kind of making things easier for everybody.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
when things are easier for everybody, it's easier for me. I don't like I don't get mad at it. Like your taxes going up. I don't care. If my taxes mean that more people will have money, so I feel safer, I'm cool. Like I'm good. If that means that person gets health care, I'm great because I don't want to do a GoFundMe for people. You know what I mean?
100%.
Like either way, I care more about the person being well than stopping them from being well. I want I want the best for everybody. I think that when people meet me and they see me and they feel that, I think it helps them realize that that point of view is actually okay. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's not a bad thing to feel that way.
Yeah.
Um,
I wish
and
more people out there had the same point of view as you. That's pretty inspirational. So, Clyde, throughout your career, you've always been an entrepreneur. Clearly, even before you went to college, you were thinking like an entrepreneur. But how do you balance creativity, which is one of the key areas of success for most entrepreneurs, with the realities of running multiple businesses? How do you keep all these balls in the air when you're juggling so many different businesses?
I don't, I don't figure it out. I don't figure it out. I just decide which ball I'm going to catch today
So you
because
just you just follow your gut then.
you can't be great at multiple things. And there were times where I had to be a better entrepreneur than father. There's times I have to be a better father than entrepreneur. There are times I have to be a better husband than either one of those things. There's nobody who's going to go, I'm be the best entrepreneur, husband, citizen, father. You can't do all those things the best. Our frontal lobe doesn't even allow us to do that.
Mm.
So getting comfortable with saying that I am making these choices for a certain reason. And I'm saying choices because about 2 years ago, I gave up saying sacrifice because
Mm,
Mm.
sacrifice focuses on the things that the person lost, but choices focus on what I won or what I gained for it. I
mhm.
mean, and that's what's important. So I've just been able to say, okay, at this time I have to be this. And no, I cannot show up to this French horn practice or this taekwondo thing or this thing because I was choosing something different for what I thought was a greater good. But there's no way you can do all the things all the time. So
Yeah.
you have to be I think it's easier once you've decided that you could be comfortable with switching, you don't have the same kind of feeling of guilt or anguish around it.
Yeah, that's a great way to look at it, and again, great advice for anybody out there.
Yeah, I don't think I personally, Clyde, like, and Eric, I don't believe in work-life balance. I actually don't believe in balance whatsoever. I don't think it's possible. I do believe in much more in line than what you just said, Clyde.
Yeah,
You know, focusing on what's in front of me and being satisfied with that.
yeah. And I think that we've been selling people work-life balance as if they can do as if those things matter the same all the time.
Yeah,
And I think that we do ourselves a disservice by being upset when we're not being the best this or not being the best that. When it's like we have to make a choice. Every time we have to make a choice. And
you
I think
do.
that we have to be comfortable with that choice. And
Mhm.
as I've gotten comfortable with that choice, I'm also comfortable communicating with the people. Some people feel like, oh, well, you don't have your all in at this job right now. I do not because I have these things going on with my family. So I cannot. Or getting opportunities where I remember a couple years ago, I was with my dad. He was in hospice. And the guys from Equiano called me and said, "We want you to be the vice
Mhm.
president of sales." And I was like, "I love it. Cannot do it while I'm doing this." And so
Right.
a lot of people would have said, "I'm gonna jump into it." Me, I'm
Mhm.
saying, "There's no way I'm gonna start this new venture when the only thing I want to do right now is be a great son to my father while he's transitioning."
Mhm.
Mhm.
And because I was able to say that a month after my father passed, I called Ian and he's like, "Hey," I was like, "Hey, if you guys still want to do it, my mind is ready to do that now." And you know what? They held it for me.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know what I
That's
mean? Versus if I try to do both, I wouldn't done well at the job and I would have not done well for my father. And so the ability to say, this is my focus now has helped me a lot.
Yeah. That's amazing. And, I think that there's a certain amount of courage to do that. There's a certain amount of courage to not have that, as we like to call, the fear of missing out, the FOMO, right?
Yes.
Because it's real. And it's
Yes.
whether you get all these invites to a ton of events. I know the three of us do on this call all the freaking time. And being able to say, you know what? No, not tonight. My daughter has a dance recital. Or, you know what? I'm tired and I just want to be home,
Yes.
and then being okay and at peace with yourself for that and not feeling like there won't be another opportunity, right?
Yeah. and that's why I call JOMO the joy of missing out.
Ah, the joy of the
There you
JOMO.
go.
I
Be-
love it.
be- because we have to, like, I'm making a choice. I cannot do this. My body can't do it. My kids can't do it. My relationships can't do it. I have to
Mhm.
miss out. I know it's going to be a good time, but my number one thing
Mm.
that I just been repeating myself for the last year is that what's for me can't happen without me.
Yeah,
Yeah. Very
that's so cool.
profound, very
That's
profound.
so good. Should have been a preacher, Clyde.
I thought about it. Mo-
You should have
Thought
been
about it.
one.
I thought about it. Money's not good enough
No,
unless you really
no,
sell out. You know what I'm saying? No one would believe me. It's too much of a live what you feel versus do what people tell you to do. But I thought about it. I grew up in a very religious household, so I have a hopeful, optimistic spirit. Is that what I tell people?
very cool, very cool. For those that are coming up in the beverage industry, especially young professionals of color, what advice do you give when it comes to navigating and building a lasting career? Because it's really tough. It's really tough. I always say, like, this industry is not for the weak. It's not. It can run you right over if you let it. As much fun as it can be, it can also be terrifying as times and
Hmm.
definitely stressful. So what do you say?
Well, I always tell people the biggest thing that you know people come the non-white people. Let's just say non-white people
Non-white people. Okay.
struggle in this business is trying to conform, even though their identity is what's sellable. Right. This is the
Mhm.
thing. The more authentic you're able to be, the more opportunities you're going to have. Period. Because that's the problem that if you're going to just bring what everybody else is bringing, why not to bring the person they know?
Yeah.
So the goal is to make yourself so valuable of being you, your brand, the way you think about cocktails, where you think about spirits is very unique. You can sell that. If you sound like
Mhm.
everybody else, they'll just hire their friend. They already have a friend that sounds like that.
Yeah.
So you have to make sure you have to be. That's why I say just be authentically you. Still be respectful. Still understand the rules, and also still be good. Try to get as good as you can get. But that's the thing. Just be authentically you. Do not try to fit into what you think they want because that
Yeah.
changes. You have to become what they want.
Yeah, I think that that's such solid advice because there's no way that you can make it through decades in this industry without just being yourself. It would be exhausting, first of all, if you tried to be somebody else. I remember when I first started with Southern Glaciers, I thought, man, I'm going to have to learn how to play golf.
Oh,
Fucking hate golf. I don't like golf.
yes.
I don't want to learn how to play golf. I thought, I'm going to have to learn. And I had to sit with myself with that because then it was stressing me out. My daughter was 2 years old at that time. I'm like, when am I have time to learn to play golf,
Yes.
And then I said, "No. No, I'm not gonna do that, If they don't like me for who I am, then this is not the place for me."
Yes, because if you're who you are, they'll come meet you where you are.
Right.
Like me meeting them where they are doesn't help me.
No, it
Doesn't
doesn't.
help me. I've never gone on a golf trip with any brand. I don't care about golf.
Yeah.
I stopped playing golf when I got divorced 'cause I didn't need a reason to get away from my family. So just like
Yeah.
I was just like, I'm not doing that. I'm not gonna do things that are unrelated to my profession to get
Yeah.
higher with you guys. I want you guys to as one of what I do for fun. I'm
Mhm.
not gonna do what you if you want to know what I do for fun, you can see my Instagram. I'm never gonna do that. Like I when I was at Pack Edge for a while, one of the guys like, "You do the Spartan races. I want to come do a Spartan race with you." Oh, perfect. That's what I do. These are things that
Mhm.
I do. And so I
Sure.
think when you're good, you can just do well being yourself and the opportunities will come to you.
Yeah,
And when they're
absolutely.
asking for you, they're asking for your authentic self.
Yeah. Yeah. Clyde, what's next for you?
Well, we're expanding House Bar. We have 2 stores open now. We have another 2 opening. We're always doing actively fundraising. So, as every entrepreneur is doing. I'm always looking at helping younger brands when they need it. The bigger issue now is that a lot of the smaller entrepreneurial brands have been running into financing issues because of just the way the market is right now for investors.
Mhm.
The stock market doing well doesn't bode well for people who look for angel investors, right? So it's like
Mhm.
if I'm making 15% on a EFT, why am I going to invest in this speculative spirits business for people who are new to it? So it's that's dried up a lot of the cash in the business, and a lot of the entrepreneurs with the new ideas, they need cash. So that part of my business is not as strong because I work for smaller brands and they just don't have the capital because I don't now that I just haven't had the experience to work for a large brand outside of marketing and activations, but running a small brand is what I like. I like to build a brand. I like
Mhm.
the idea of discovery. I like showing the new people things. So that's my thing is I'm concentrating on house bar. And then when there are opportunities to help other companies grow, I'm all over it. But right now I'm focused on house bar and the like. I did some consulting for some other stores, a store that I consulted for in Maryland, which was it's funny, it was the Prince George County, Maryland, where I'm from. It was the first black owned liquor store there in like 50 years.
Wow.
Because beforehand in Maryland, before the Civil Rights Act, black people couldn't own liquor stores. So
Right.
then when they passed those laws, they then put a moratorium on liquor licenses.
Hmm.
So then the people who owned the liquor stores only sold to one group of people. And so we had a whole county with over 1 million people, about 7 to 50,000 of them being black Americans. None of them owned liquor stores. So they were kind of blocked.
Wow.
Mm.
So when the opportunity came up to consult for this store, I was like, I gotta take it because
Yeah.
this is where I grew up and we never
Mhm.
had any black owned liquor stores, even though I mean systematically we weren't able to own it.
Right.
So I do
So
consulting like that. And so I love it. It's a good project. The store looks great.
so
Um,
just re-energize you when you get a project like that?
it does because I know I'm doing something that nobody else has ever done before.
Yeah.
And that always excites me because then I
Yeah.
can imagine it for myself. Like
Yeah, it's
there's no
cool.
blueprint. I mean, if I worked at a huge chain, it'd be like, just do, we're already making money, just do this. Let's do this. And also for somebody to say, I want you to do it means a lot to me too. And to actually pay me. And,
Yeah.
oh,
Mhm.
and,
As
and,
long as
and
that
not and
money
not
follows,
and not
Clyde.
worry about the price. I'm like, oh, I was like, man, I should have charged more. Yeah, it's that easy? But yeah, so
Where can our listeners find you?
the most common Instagram is Clyde Davis Jr. That's all of my things. Clyde Davis Jr. on everything. Makes it easy to remember my name. And then also at Live House Bar is our company. That's doing very well. 75 proof bev is out there, but it's not a huge thing.
Mhm.
But because I mostly concentrate on on social media, I concentrate on myself. And then the brand stuff is secondary to me because the brand has to have its own voice, own image. And even though I'm sometimes the guy replying to stuff and posting stuff, but I also act like that's my anonymous account.
Well, you're someone to watch. You are someone to keep an eye on in this industry for sure, because you are a disruptor, a builder, and someone who continues to redefine what's possible, and someone that also opens the door and a forever a teacher.
Thank you.
And I
I
hope you know
appreciate that.
that. Even for myself, you have such patience, even just teaching me how to do things on for with AI that I never knew how to do when we were sitting at the LA Spirit Awards. I don't know
Yeah, that was
I don't
funny.
think you know how much I appreciated that and just your kindness that you naturally have. And so, I hope our listeners are really, pay attention to Clyde Davis. You'll be happy that you did.
Yeah,
Uh,
you've given us a lot of words of wisdom. Clyde, you're very inspirational, and, thank you for being on. It's been wonderful and fascinating to speak to you.
I appreciate you guys for the opportunity. Like I said, I just love what we do in hospitality. I love the opportunity to please people and create things for yourself. And the only other thing that I like to say before I go out is that when you're asking about we talked about the AI stuff, and
Yes.
I love when people ask me stuff because I ask people stuff all the time. And the quote that my first like me have a quote as a kid, I was reading Milan Kundera, and he said, "Humility is the only cure for ignorance. If you don't
Mm,
know something, just ask. It's okay." And so when people ask me stuff, I know that takes a lot to ask. So I'm always like, and the reason I know the things I know is because I ask. So if
yeah.
you want to be a better anything, you have to come in of a humble place and ask, because that's the only way to get it done. And so, like, I have my patience comes from that because I know it's hard for people to ask for things. So I always make it
Yeah.
opportunity for people to ask so I can answer to help them because that's going to help them so much more going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, with that, first of all, I hope that you'll come back on Served Up to give us an update on what the heck you're doing
Yeah, yeah, anytime.
in the
Like
future.
once we finish this, we got a lot of stuff going. There's gonna be a time where you're like, "Yo, now you need to come back." We got some stuff
Yes.
kind of hidden. I'll be excited to share that with you and your audience.
Wonderful. Eric and I will look forward to it. And with that, Clyde, I want to wish you just some great health and a lot of peace. And thank you so much for coming on Served Up.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me. Again, you guys need anything, let me know. I'm excited to talk to your audience. Eric, it's very good to meet you for the first time virtually.
Yes. And you
And
too,
then
Clyde.
maybe we get to meet in person sometime. I'm not gonna be at Tails this year. Now I've decided that, but I'll be back soon enough.
Good. Well,
Mm.
let's make it a plan for sure. Thank you.
Thanks for listening. Served Up is brought to you by Southern Glazers Wine and Spirits. Produced by Zunu.online. Music by We Killed the Lion can be found on Spotify. Make sure to subscribe to be notified of our future Served Up episodes. Cheers.